right, episode 7. Welcome to the Football Frame of Mind podcast. First and foremost, how you doing, bro?
We doing good on this end. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. All right, so actually, if you watched last episode, we concluded our preseason breakdown of college football. So it's time to get into some pro game. Break down some things. But first and foremost, man, so what do you think about the NFL in its current state?
I think the NFL's in a really good place right now. Although I don't really care for a lot of the politics and stuff that gets included, but as I mean from an actual game perspective, I think we're probably at a peak right now of just like athletes and just playmakers. It feels like every year they're in such high of surplus that it's so hard to even keep track of. I think there are a few things that we'll probably get into about things I like and I don't like. But I mean, for the most part, the NFL, I feel is like a really good place, money wise, football wise, athlete wise. It's still pretty entertaining to watch. The offenses are nice, wide open. The running backs are kind of in a weird place right now. But for the most part, I think the NFL's in a really good place, though.
Okay, well, we can get into what you don't dislike and like right now. What is something you dislike about the NFL?
I probably would say something that's kind of, I'm not going to say indifferent with, but you look at, let's talk about quarterback money. So we'll just say in the last 2 years or so, quarterback contracts are shot to the roof, mainly because AKA Deshaun Watson with that big contract he got. And unless the NFLPA would approve, like, I guess to go up on the salary cap, that's going to really make it hard for some teams to, like, they want to keep their franchise guy, but at the same time, you still have to build a nucleus around those guys. I'm just worried that it's going to become, well, we can't afford to, so we're going to draft a guy and try to get as much winning out of them first couple of years off that rookie deal to where we don't have to pay the quarterback so much money to where you're not cash strapped trying to fit everything in the salary cap, looking like the Saints every year, trying to finagle way through the salary cap. I think that and kind of the way the running back position's looking, man, you have really good backs. Dalvin Cook's still a free agent. And 5-10 years ago, that doesn't happen. But yeah. I think the running back position is now, it's like, why do I go for a one back workload when I don't have to pay this guy and I can bring in 2 or 3 guys I know I can interchange out? And if we're averaging 4 yards a carry, we're running the ball well enough to open up the pass game. I don't have to pay a one guy, even if that guy might be the best back in the league. I think it's kind of put a damper on the position, and I don't know where it goes from here 5 years from now, honestly.
Okay, understandable. Good points. Good points. So I'll dive into the quarterback your quarterback comment. So the quarterback contracts to me, obviously Deshaun Watson had a had a market changing deal, right? Guaranteeing all of his money. So it's it like I said, broke the market, but at the same time, I put the fault at the player, because they dangle that $270 million contract into you, but guess what? You signed for 5 years. Your team ain't gonna have no help. You ain't gonna be able to get nobody because you are the bulk of the salary. So
exactly.
So my thing is we can blame the market or Deshaun Watson, but shoot, blame the player. They keep taking it. They keep taking these big contracts, right? They want to make all this money. It's fine, man, but you're gonna be good with maybe $50 million less. Like if you really think about the bigger picture and you want to win, you want to have more chances to win later on in your career when your athleticism goes away and you're basically, Tom Brady back there. You want to be able to win later, which is what Tom Brady did. When he made all his money, they didn't win much.
He always took pay cuts, though. That's something that's definitely not very prevalent because I think even in his prime, he was taking pay cuts all the time so they could try to surround them with talent. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of guys think like that.
And when he did take the money, they had a nice long dry spell before they start winning again, right? And then when he took some more pay cut, they start winning again. So,
Mm-hmm.
like people asking like, oh man, how does Tom Brady do it? That's how. That's how he does
Yeah,
it.
having to put
He
that stuff to
doesn't
the
take
side.
all the money for himself. Like it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers asks probably the same thing. Well, why I'm not winning? Because you took all the money,
You getting
bro.
50+ million a year.
Yeah, you
There's
took
only
all the
so much.
money.
There's only so much salary cap you could fit in that, man.
Man, there's
There's
only
It's
so
a
much
53-man
scouting you
roster.
can do. There's only so much scouting you can do. Like eventually you're gonna have to pay guys. You know what I'm saying? Like you can build through the draft if you have a big guy, but like if you
You
don't
still
have
have to pay people at some point.
if you don't have a great like scouting department, if we're talking like let's say the Patriots, like they always find guys diamonds in the rough, right? But a lot of teams ain't that fortunate. So
No.
they pay all their money to one guy, and now they wondering why they either don't make the playoffs on their fifth coach in 10 years or things like that. Like you ask those questions, but that's why. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't put the blame on the owners or whatever because look,
No, I put it on the players,
yeah,
honestly,
I
because I
do
mean, you're
because you
splitting.
want to win, but you're gonna have to take a break.
Well,
You're
yeah,
gonna have
because I
to.
mean, dude, you can only fit so much in a yearly salary cap, man. And if you want
Yeah,
to be able to have good, decent players, like core players on both sides of the ball, there's only so much of that pie to go around. You can go and get paid, but don't expect to make a playoff run. And if you do, you're not making it forward because you don't have the guys necessary. And if you do, you might have it for 1 year, and you're gonna have to either cut ties with people, you're gonna have to restructure contracts. It's gonna be freaking salary cap hell trying to figure that out.
exactly. So, in your second point about the running back situation, like, okay, so when we were coming up, everybody had a good running back, right? Running backs were a premium in that first round, like you
Mm-hmm.
needed a bell cow, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like teams like the Patriots, teams like the Steelers, teams like that go or the Colts actually that kind of went running back by committee kind of showed the
Mm-hmm.
league that you don't really need a guy to carry that load because there's been
You can
so many
depend on
running
multiple.
backs that haven't panned out being picked that high. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they do, they want these big contracts, right? And one name comes to mind. I don't know if you remember Amon Green from Pittsburgh, not Pittsburgh, but Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Play when
he
they
had
had
like
all.
two
Yeah.
seasons. Yeah, he had like 2 seasons of like 1,600 yards plus. So he got in free agency and signed with the Houston Texans. And when he got in Houston Texans, they thought they was getting Amon Green, but they was getting Green Amon, not the same guy. So that's a turnoff, man, when you're trying to pay these guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Now you're strapped to this guy.
right. So I think the running back hasn't been devalued. You can just get a lot of good guys. You can win more games spelling the running back. You know what I'm saying? So I think you to even be a good running back, you have to be able to do everything. But
Yeah. You
those
can't
running
just be a running
backs,
back. You have to catch too, block, pass, block, all that good stuff.
exactly. So a lot of the top guys don't do everything well. So
Mm-hmm.
why pay a guy to do one thing well when I can get three guys that can cover every single point of a running back? He can
Mm-hmm.
run, he
And
can catch,
yep.
and he can block. Why do that?
Mm-hmm.
I can save millions of dollars against the salary cap by just getting three guys for league minimum. And then I can pay
Mm-hmm.
them something, or if they get good, I can trade them for another guy that can do exactly what he do for less. So it's
Mm-hmm.
completely like the running back hasn't been devalued. I think it's actually gained value because a lot of guys can get picked later in the draft and not even, and play and not even miss a beat. Can get adequate playing time, don't have to sit the bench. Like simply, you can go to a small school and get drafted and have good minutes and then end up making that big contract later because believe it or not, somebody's gonna be a dummy and pay you. So believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it goes, man. So
I wouldn't say devalued. I would reword that. I guess it would mean that franchises don't look at the position the same way as like how you put like you don't have to put all your eggs into that one basket. If you have a guy that's really good at pass blocking, cool. You can run that guy in certain schemes. If this guy's good at just running the ball on third downs, you got a guy that's good catching out of the backfield. You can run different offensive schemes and different play sets to where you can utilize those things and still get what you need without having to pour all your money into one guy.
exactly, and I think of Saquon Barkley's situation right now. Like they're
Yeah,
looking like he's probably going to hold out this year for a big deal, and yeah,
we seen what happened the last time a big name guy did that, and when he came back, he was not the same guy.
true, true. But for Saquon, it's not a function of his ability; it's his availability is the problem, right?
Mm,
He is one of those rare guys that can do all three. He can catch, he can run, he can block. He can do it all. But his thing is injuries. Are we really going to invest in a guy that can't give us at least 75% of the games a year? Because we're in a
mm.
tough division and we need help. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
So
last year was the first year in a while he was actually freaking healthy. That was like the first year in, what, 3 years that he didn't really have injuries like that. And he was
exactly.
productive. But how much money are
Exactly.
you going to
And
put
him
that
being
that's going
on
to
the
keep
field,
happening?
yeah, and him being on the field is a very important thing for them. Like I don't think they have the success they had last year without
No.
Saquon. You know what I'm saying? So and
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones too, but at the same time, but they both go hand in hand. I don't think you can
Well,
win
yeah, if you don't have Barkley, you're putting all that on Daniel Jones. And I'm not saying Brian Daboll can't get the most out of Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones isn't that guy that's going to carry that entire team without having somebody else there like that. It's
yeah.
just not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, like I said, man, like if I had to give my overview, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, great points. But if I had to give my overview of the NFL, it's in a good place. Obviously, it's quarterback friendly. You can't win without one. And your quarterback, you can win with a quarterback that can throw the ball far. Like he has to throw the ball far. He has to be able to stretch the defense. I don't think you win
Mm-hmm.
with game managers nowadays because
No, because
eventually you're
defenses
gonna
are
have
too
to make a
fast and too talented.
yeah, you're gonna have to make a play, and you can't just have anybody back there. So I think everybody's kind of searching for that guy, and even if you don't have that guy, you're going to struggle in the playoffs. You might get there, but a team that has a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a guy, if I'm thinking about like Patrick Mahomes right now, like when you have a guy like that, beating the average dude is not that hard because I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be able to beat you because I know what I got. And a
Mm-hmm.
guy that, like I think about the Redskins right now, or sorry, Commanders. Uh think about the Commanders right now, and they have quarterback controversy this year. Do we
Sam
go with
Howell.
yeah, we go with Wentz or we go with Taylor
Oh, they cut
Heineke?
Wentz.
Huh?
Wentz is a free agent.
See what I'm saying? So now,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So now we go back to Taylor Heineke, right? Like I
No,
think
he's in Atlanta.
he's in Atlanta now.
Sam Howell's the guy this year. Heineke's
What?
Desmond Ritter's
So
backup.
they got rid of Heineke, dog. You serious?
I'm being serious. He's in Atlanta.
What?
Atlanta got rid of
What?
Marcus
Okay.
Mariota, so they got Desmond
Okay.
Ritter and Heineke. So
What?
Washington's all in on Howell at least for this year. And if they suck and they
But
fall, they might get one of those guys at the top of the draft.
but you know what? I actually think that's a good thing though. I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
real good thing for Washington because Sam Howell can spin it and he ain't
He's
scared to
good.
spin it either.
He's
So
very underrated.
yeah, so I think that's a good move for them. And then they just pick up Eric Bieniemy too. Like he ain't gonna have
Mm-hmm.
no quarterback that's scared out there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
He's
I
a good
like that
offensive
move.
coordinator. That's a good fit.
I I like both of those moves. I like both of them. So, but yeah, man. So like I said, my overview is in a good place. It's a quarterback friendly league right now, and my biggest storyline, since we'll go into that storyline is Mahomes. Is this his era? Is this his era to really say he's one of the best quarterbacks. And I would say it is. I think he's the guy to beat. I
I
don't
think
think
he's already cemented that.
no, I don't think so. I think it's more he could do. I think it's more.
I think he's going to be able to do more, but I think he's definitely already put himself on top of that pedestal as he's the guy that everybody else has to go through,
Yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Like he really has. This is like I said, this is his era, and I just
Mm-hmm.
want to see how much more he can do. I mean, he's been MVP a few times. He's won two
Guys,
Super Bowls. He has two Super Bowl MVPs. So, like, what else can he do? Like I said, the AFC runs through him. Anybody
mm-hmm.
looking to make a step forward in the AFC, you got to come through him. So I'm excited to see what else he can do to just kind of
Mm-hmm.
further his Hall of Fame case. You know what I'm saying? Like, can he be undisputed the best quarterback to ever play the game? Like that's where
Mm-hmm.
he's headed. Like he's headed into waters that only a few quarterbacks have been in. So I want to see how far he can go. And this is his time, man. So he's gonna have many challengers to try to challenge him, but he just has too much, and I think he's
I
that
think
good.
I think one more storyline that's just not as important, but I think they go hand in hand is who's going to be that number two. Who's going to take the step forward and say the number two behind him? Is it going to be Joe or is it going to be Josh Allen? Because I think they both have a really good case, but the thing that Joe Burrow has on Josh Allen is Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl.
Right,
And
you know what I'm
Josh
saying?
Allen, I mean, I think he could get them over that hump, but man, like Cincinnati, besides last year, has always had Kansas City's number. Is Buffalo going to take that jump this year? Or are they going to be able to silence the haters and be able to put Cincinnati down and be able to put the Chiefs down? That's a big deal.
And Lamar just got his money. So
Yep. I
now,
mean, you still got to go through Miami and them boys too.
right. So now what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Justin Herbert with the Chargers,
Yep.
he's pretty
Yep.
good. You know what I'm
He's up
saying?
there too.
So, and then you got some young guys that just got drafted that are looking to kind of stake their claim to the league too. I
Yep.
think Anthony Richardson going to the Colts is awesome. I would love to
Good
see him
fit.
on that turf running fast. I just think you have to be able to use a guy's skill set. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think back in the day, we used to try to fit a square peg in a round hole and try to make a
Mm-hmm.
guy that's
Got to
good at
fit a
running.
prototype that's not them.
Right. You try to make them into something they're not. And it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Colts are gonna learn from their mistake and they're gonna really, really use him like that. And I think that's one of the guys that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Watch
the
out for CJ
AFC is
Stroud.
AFC's tough on these quarterbacks, man. So yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, most definitely. So, like I said, one more storyline that I'm looking at is the coaches, man. I want to see what these new coaches do. Obviously, the Colts have a new one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what the Panthers do with Frank Reich.
Mm.
Was
Dude,
his
that's a
time
really good fit.
what was his time with the Colts something that was his fault or management? Is he really a good coach? And he has his guy. He has Bryce Young. That's his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He drafted him so he can
You got
mold
Jim
him.
Caldwell there too.
Yeah, he can mold him exactly how he wants to do it. You know what I'm saying? And you mentioned the guy well before we got on the show, Sean Payton. Uh does he have some magic left after taking some time off?
Oh
And
yeah,
so
definitely. He's got it.
yeah, so you know what I'm saying?
But
What
that's a difference, man. You're going from the NFC South. You're questionably in one of the hardest divisions in football. You're going through Mahomes, you're going through Herbert. I don't really see the Raiders being anywhere in that conversation, but I mean, the AFC's tough, man. The AFC runs the league right now. Easy.
Yep. Hey, but that's just how it is, man. Like back in the day, the NFC used to run stuff.
That's true. It
Yeah,
done
back in the
flipped.
day, the NFC was the tougher conference. You know what I'm saying? So we just shifted through time. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna like my take on the Raiders as we get further in the show. I got definitely
Mm.
a surprise for you about the Raiders. But like I said, we you know what I'm saying we went through the overview storylines. So let's get into a breakdown of this NFC South, man. I know this is kind of your stumping ground. Um, so let's get into it, man. So I believe the Buccaneers won the conference last year. Tom
Yeah.
Brady's last season, obviously, hopefully. Uh, um, so Tom Brady's last season, obviously, the Bucks win the conference. Losing record, by the way, it was 8-9.
Mm.
But they did win the conference, man. But that conference was up in arms late in the season, man. Because
That division was a dumpster fire, man.
the Panthers had a chance to win it, and then the Saints had a chance to win it, and then the Falcons had a chance to win it, and then the Bucks just kind of pulled it out at the end by winning a bunch of games in a row. So, um, like I said, man, definitely a cluster of teams that on a good day can beat the Chiefs, and on a bad day they're probably gonna lose to the Browns or something like that. So, what's your take on the conference, man? Like, what's your take on this conference
I
or
think the
division?
NFC, I think the NFC South in its entirety has been a pretty good division for a long time, but we're going through a kind of a turnaround right now. A lot of the older guys that were here, and we're going to talk about some of these guys later, but like really good quarterbacks, really good key players on these teams. We're starting to change the era. You're getting a lot of younger guys in here. I think it's kind of a rebuild of a division. I mean, we've obviously had turnover. You said Carolina, they got a new head coach of Frank Reich. Tampa Bay's kind of up in the air right now because if they have another down year, you're probably going to be looking for another head coach. Atlanta's kind of an interesting one. They've got a pretty good young head coach, and they've had a lot of good splashes in free agency. But their big question is our defense going to be able to hold? And what does our quarterback room look like? What kind of quarterback play are we going to get out of it? You look at the Saints. The Saints ended the year with a top 5 defense, but quarterback play was really inconsistent. No disrespect to Andy Dalton. So he said there's not 32 guys that are better than me. I would probably have to differ on that. But I
But
think it's a division that's
he ain't even better than AJ McCarron, and he playing in the XFL. Let's just say that. Let's just say
yeah,
that.
I would agree. I think and we're gonna start breaking down teams and kind of seeing where our perspectives are. In its history, it's not a bad division, but right now I think we're kind of in a rebuilding phase. So I'd probably say in the next 3 years or so, this division is going to probably be one of the better divisions in the conference, hands down.
Okay. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think this conference is actually open to anybody for real. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
man.
It's wide open.
Yeah, everybody got a chance this year, man. So those conference games that they play against each other probably gonna count. They usually count twice, but I think it's gonna count
Mm-hmm.
about 4 times this year because they're gonna beat up on each other. So if you can win those conference games, like you're gonna be pretty good as far as the standings go. So if I had to start with a team to break down, I'll start with the Bucks since they won conference was the division
Okay.
last year. So I'll start with the Bucks, man. Obviously Tom Brady leaves. So that changes things a little bit. So I'm not sure who their quarterback is. I don't even know what kind of team they're gonna have, bro.
They've got 2 guys they're leaning on right now. It's either you got Kyle Trask, who got to sit behind Brady for I think a year or two, and they went out and they signed Baker, which that's a segment in itself. But yeah, that's their 2 guys they're trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do, and I feel bad for Todd Bowles, man, because
It's another Jet situation.
yeah,
But
man,
I don't
like
think he's the greatest head coach either, but
he was so it was tough because he feel like he's in the same spot again. Like like he did so good his first year with the Jets. And then after that, they bet on Ryan Fitzpatrick having another Fitz magic season. And yeah, it wasn't good.
yeah.
So then after
Yeah, and
that,
then
they
you went out
started
and you drafted
losing.
Darnold.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to fix it and things like that. So now, like, I don't know what kind of team they're gonna have this year, man. I don't know. And I
I
don't
think they can
think
be at the bottom, bro.
if they implode, I don't think he's gonna be there. And they already fired Brian Leftwich, so I can only imagine what they're gonna do next. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna fire him, and then they back to being the Bucks of old. You know what I'm saying? If there's one franchise that had hung their coattails on one championship, it was the Bucks. They talk about that so much. That 2002 championship where they had that crazy defense or whatever. So before that, that's
Mm,
all they could really talk about. But
mm,
obviously Brady had other plans down there. But this coming in this season, I don't think they're gonna finish. I think they might be at the bottom, dude. I think they might
mm.
be at the bottom. And that's just kind of how it is, man. Like I said, you lose a good player like Tom Brady who can do his own thing, man. Like he ain't got to really, and the coach ain't really got no say when it comes to Tom Brady. He done did enough and won enough to really kind of just do his own thing, and it worked, obviously. So this season you don't have that. So what are you really gonna do? What's your direction? That's what I want to see. And
Agreed.
if I had to break down another team, I would say my team to win this conference, I think, is the Falcons, dog. That's the team I really look at because offense is really gonna be the key in this division. And they have some weapons. The only question I have is who's gonna throw the ball because
Yeah, I think they're rolling with Ritter, man. I think they're confident in him, but I think they got Heineke as like an insurance plan in case things don't work out or Ritter gets hurt, maybe. But yeah.
yeah, like I said, if they go with Ritter, then I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know how good he really is when the bullets are flying. You know what I'm saying? So, but Heineke, I've seen some good things when the bullets are flying. So I wouldn't necessarily just give it to Ritter because Heineke's
Let,
a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? He has some good things and some bad things, right? But I feel like if he gets the job and doesn't have to look over his shoulder like he did in Washington, I think he's actually a really good quarterback and he can take
mm-hmm.
that next step. But I felt like when he was in Washington, he had to look over his shoulder at Wentz the whole time because they were spending a lot of money on Wentz. So it's like, well, if I throw a couple interceptions today, they're gonna yank me out. So I have to be extra careful, and that makes you make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
think this year, if he can just clean slate, if he gets the job and can do his thing, I think they can win the division because they have weapons. I love Kyle Pitts. They have some good running backs. Drake London is really good. He's a really, really good receiver. I did not think he was that good coming out of USC. I knew he had some game, but I didn't think he was that good. So I think they can win it. So and then obviously, you look at the Saints. They have a lot of weapons as well. Defense is really good, always good in that division. So they give people what they want every Sunday on defense. I love Cam Jordan. He ain't going nowhere. And I love the middle linebacker. I forgot his name, but
Mario Davis.
yep, I like him. He's a hitter. I like him a lot. So, like I said, the biggest thing, I think the best quarterback wins this division, man. Honestly, the best quarterback that plays the best is probably going to win this division. And I think, you guys picked up Carr. So Carr's done some good things, man, and he's done some great things in his career, man. He's done some bonehead stuff too. But
Mm-hmm.
I think he can do that. He's the most experienced quarterback coming into this season in this division. So if you
Yeah,
had to
hands
pick,
down. He's got the most experience.
yeah, yeah. So if you had to pick a team, I wouldn't even be mad if you went with the Saints to win. I just think the Falcons have more weapons, and under the right quarterback, you can use it,
Mm,
man. Bruh.
I don't know, man.
Bruh, I'm telling you. All right, before you push back on me, hold up. Let me break
Okay,
down the
you good,
Panthers.
man? I want to let you get everything you got out.
Yeah, let me break down the Panthers, right? The Panthers are in a weird case for real because nobody really knows what they throwing at you. So they could really surprise some teams because they got a new coach, a new quarterback. So they could really throw a wrench in everybody's plan because don't nobody know how to scout them yet. So if they take strides next season or year after this year, that's when
Mm-hmm.
you'll see what kind of team they really are. But they
Yeah.
could really throw a wrench in everybody's plan because they're new. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's like the sleeper team in this division. Like if they sneak up on some teams and gain some momentum, anything is possible, man. Especially with a young
Mm-hmm.
quarterback that don't really know much in this league. If he gets some confidence, it's a wrap. He gonna be nice. So like I said, I got the Falcons winning this division, but
Mm-hmm.
by the slimmest of margins.
Okay.
Slim.
So me, if I'm gonna start from bottom to top, I think Tampa, like you said, is in the worst spot. Your quarterback room is probably one of the worst quarterback, if not the worst quarterback room in the league. You do have good weapons on offense. I mean, you're bringing back Mike Evans, you're bringing back Russell Gage, you're bringing back Chris Godwin. You got good weapons. You've got a subpar offensive line. I just don't see it. I think their
I
defense
don't know.
might still be okay, but I think their offense is going to be really dysfunctional. I just don't see them getting any higher than 4. And I think that's as much we need to talk about them now. 3 and 2 are kind of more for debate, so I'm just going to talk about them separately. So the Falcons, like you said, I think they're in a really good spot. They've got AJ Terrell and them boys on defense. They made some really good signings in free agency. Uh, you look on offense, they're probably going to roll with Ritter. Then you're going to have Cordero Patterson. You're going to have Bijan Robinson. You're going to have Drake London. You're
Yeah.
going to have Kyle Pitts.
See?
They've got weapons, and I think Arthur Smith is a good young coach. I just don't know if they're there yet. And like we said earlier, I think it's really going to fall on quarterback play. If Desmond Ritter plays up to his potential, Falcons could be really good. I've liked Ritter since he was at Cincinnati. I think he's really good, and I think playing for Atlanta now is a lot different than it was playing for Atlanta 3-4 years ago. So I think they're in a good place, even like how you said about the Panthers. Even if it's not this year, in a couple years or so, yeah, I could see Atlanta being a perennial contender to win the division. Uh, if you're going to look at the Panthers defense is still going to be pretty good. You bring back Jeremy Chin, you still got Brian Burns, you still got quite a J.C. Horn,
Derek
quite a few
Brown?
guys. Yep, Derek Brown's back. There's another guy from LSU. I forget his name. He's another corner. But when you go to offense, they made some good
Um,
signings. The corner, what is his name?
Jackson.
Dante Jackson.
Yep,
Dante
Jackson. Yep.
Jackson.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think their defense will be still solid. If you go to offense, they signed a couple guys in free agency. They got Miles Sanders, left Philadelphia. He's there.
Yep.
Adam Thielen got released by Minnesota. He's there. Now, those might not be great names, but they're veteran presences. They can go and they can contribute. I think Frank Reich is a good coach. I just think Indianapolis it got sour and they just didn't really fit, I guess, the vision he had. I think this is a really good place. He gets Jim Caldwell to go out there with him. He gets
Yep.
the best quarterback in the draft in Bryce Young. I think they could really outperform expectations, and they could possibly win the division. Best case scenario, they could win the division. I need to see what Bryce is going to do. And if that defense plays up to their potential, yeah, Carolina's got a real shot. And if we're going to talk about the Saints, we've already said their defense is perennial top 5. You're coming in with Cam Jordan. You're coming in with Tyrann Mathieu. You're coming in with Marshawn Lattimore, Demario Davis, Fred Warner. We know who they are on defense.
Yep.
You look at the offense. The offensive line's still there. Ryan Ramczyk, Eric McCoy. They drafted a guy in the first round last year at tackle. I think I'm forgetting his name. He's supposed to be really good.
Chris Olave.
You bring Chris Olave had probably one of the best seasons last year. Mike Thomas is supposedly healthy for the first time in 4 or 5 years. You've got
Right.
Alvin Kamara, who's going to play. Supposedly, we don't know what's going on with all the other stuff. But they went out and they signed Jamal Williams as well, who's a really good. I mean, I think he led the league in touchdowns last year.
It was
So I
that's
think
Denver, right? From
no,
Denver?
he was with Detroit.
Detroit, right, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was him and DeAndre Swift were in Detroit, and they're both gone now. And just like the other teams, I think the biggest question mark is quarterback. I mean, I think Derek Carr has shown really good promise. Obviously, anybody that can put up and play in Oakland and Las Vegas, hey, bro, kudos to you because that's been a dumpster fire for a long time. I think his pros have been a lot better than his cons, but his cons have really sucked. When trying to sometimes you're throwing your team out of games because of some boneheaded throws. But I think it's crazy because if that team isn't as successful as they should be this year, they're going to be running off their head coach, and they're going to have to find somebody else that can really utilize. Because I think if he's with the right head coach, with the right offensive coordinator, I think that offense can really pop. But if I'm just going to guess a division winner, I like Atlanta. I think their talent is there. But if I have to guess, I think it's between the Saints and the Panthers, and I think the Saints will slightly get it. If Carr plays really well, I think it'll be a runaway. If it's kind of a meh, I think they might win by the skin of their teeth. But I'll go with the Saints. I think rosters better than all the other teams.
Okay. Nah, man, great points. Great points. If I had to like give some pushback, man, I just think, man, I love Derek Carr, man. He's such a good quarterback, man. Like I really do think he could be great. Like I think he's had so many opportunities to be a great quarterback, man. And I would even go and say that it's not like he didn't have any weapons in Oakland and
Yeah,
Las Vegas.
yeah, he had questionably better weapons. I'll agree with you. When you have Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs, you have Darren Waller, Hunter
yeah.
Renfro, Devontae Adams. I
And then
think it. Yeah,
my boy who got arrested, Henry Ruggs, he had him too. So it's like what I'll get into when we break down the NFC North, right? Is how much more can I give you? Like what else what
what
else
else do I
can
have to do?
what else can I give you to help you win? I've given you offense. You've had offense. You've had offensive weapons. You've had offensive line. You know what I'm saying? What else do you need for me to help you? Because now you got the money. So I don't think money is the issue. So now
Mhm.
what's stopping you from taking that next step? Because sometimes you're just good. Sometimes you're not great, right? So what
Oh, and they got Foster Moreau too.
Right. So, and this year, the Saints would have a better defense than I think he's ever had. So now,
He's had good players, but
yeah, like good players, but not like whole defenses, right? So
I
this
agree.
year, he's got three levels of great defense. So if you throw us out the game, then it's all on you. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
So
I
and
agree.
so like I said, man, that's the only really pushback I got, man. I think, like I said, this division is going to be won again by a smallest of margins. Like it's not
hmm
anybody who wins it is not going to be a runaway. I just think the games they play in division are going to be like tough. They're going to be old school AFC North type. You know what I'm saying? Where every
hmm
game is like pins and needles. You know what I'm saying? It's important. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I just think it's gonna be the closest division I think we have this year. Um,
hmm
yeah, like I said, they're not gonna get three teams in the playoffs. Let's just say that they're gonna have one playoff person, one playoff representative from that division, and that's it. So yeah, man, great points, man, great points, man. So, like I said, now we're gonna get into our favorite segment, the best segment of all segments, the top five list from the Football Frame of Mind podcast. So I want you to lead the honors today
Cool.
to talk about us and we break it in pro game, man. And I want you to break in this top five, man. Let's go.
Okay. So we're breaking down the NFL. We're just gonna do a good top five. I think you start off with the quarterback position. I think today we're gonna do the top five NFC South quarterbacks of all time. Now, I don't think that this quarterback room is very deep with a lot of really good quarterbacks, but I think there's anywhere from 5 to 10 guys that could easily be on this list. Now, I think you will agree with the people I have, but I don't know if you'll agree with the order.
Okay. Nah, hit me
So
with it. Hit me
I'm
with it. You go
looking
first.
now. When I grade these players, I'm grading them on just their time with that team. I'm not going to grade their career as a whole. I'm going to grade their time in that division. So at number 5, I'm going to go Michael Vick. I think revolutionized the mobile quarterback position.
Oh shit. Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to have
Oh.
Vick at 5.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So I'm going to have Vick at 5, man. The guy took the game by storm. The guy was a cheat code. Everybody played Madden 04 back in the day and wanted to play with the Atlanta Falcons
My
just so they
favorite.
could run
My
from,
favorite.
just so we could run from end zone to end zone and never get tired. Michael Vick, really prolific player. I love prime Michael Vick on the Falcons. Obviously had gotten in some legal trouble, came back and rejuvenated his career with the Eagles. I really love Michael Vick as a person. I have him at top 5.
Okay.
At number 4, this one might be controversial. I got Matt Ryan at 4, another Falcons quarterback. I think Matt Ryan, for the majority of his career, has been a pretty decent quarterback. Top 10, top 15 quarterback. He's got an MVP on his resume.
He does.
He's been to 1 Super Bowl. Obviously, we all know 28-3, 28-3. But I think for the most part, I think Matt Ryan's been a pretty good quarterback. Obviously, he's been consistent, but just not a great winner of like big time games. But I respect his game. I respect him as a person, as a player. I've got him at number 4. Number 3, I've got Cam Newton.
Okay.
I think just because obviously both of these guys have an MVP on their resume. They both have a Super Bowl appearance. But what Cam did in his MVP year, I think puts him over Matt Ryan. He led them to a 15-1 regular season record, completely took the league by storm. Nobody could stop him. He could throw the ball. He could run through people. He could run through defenses. Obviously, when they met Denver, it didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
But I think Cam as a whole for the Panthers, I think Cam had a really good career. Obviously, he had some injuries that really derailed his athleticism and his game. But as a player, I mean, the dude was awesome. Probably one of the strongest quarterbacks we've probably ever seen. Strong arm. Dude was freaking huge. Over, 6'5", 6'6", 200 something pounds. That's a big quarterback. But yeah, I've got Cam at 3. If we're gonna go down number 2, I'm gonna put Tom Brady at number 2. I think Tom, from the instant he got in Tampa, obviously he changed the culture. He said, okay, we're not going to be a mediocre team no more. He instantly made that team a Super Bowl contender. First couple years could not get through New Orleans at all. That division ran through the Saints. Tom Brady had fits trying to get through New Orleans. But hey, he sent Drew Brees out on a sour note. The Saints had a better team that year. The Saints probably had a good chance to try to make a run. Tom Brady put him out, and Tom Brady went on to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, Tom Brady could probably still play, but he's not playing. But I think his 3-4 years he was in Tampa, he made such an impact that I think he's a number 2, man. I think he's just one of the greatest ever. And I mean, this should be no surprise. If we're talking number 1, we got to go Drew Brees. Come on. Maybe the most underrated quarterback of all time. Got damn near every passing stat of all time. I think he threw for 5,000 yards 4 or 5 times. Completed over 70% of his passes. God knows how many times. Class act, clutch player, doesn't get a lot of recognition. Probably the most accurate passer I've ever seen. Drew Brees, quite possibly top 3 quarterback in my book. He's number 1 in NFC South history.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we're gonna have a little bit of the same. We're gonna have a little bit of the same because I wanted to add people from like before the NFC South because a lot of the teams was in the NFC Central.
Yeah, when it was the 49ers and teams like that, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, nah, we're just gonna keep it fair. We're gonna keep it like that. But we're gonna have a little bit of the same. If I had to say 5, I'd say Cam Newton. Because Cam Newton took the league by storm, after Michael Vick. But like I said, he turn that franchise around. People don't
Mm.
understand that the year before they got Cam Newton, they was like 1-15.
With
Like it
Jimmy
wasn't
Clausen.
even it wasn't fun to be a Carolina Panthers fan back then. Like I
Mm-hmm.
felt for people that watched all that. Jimmy Clausen coming there playing. Like dude, Jimmy Clausen was
He was bad.
no, bro.
Bad.
And then
It was hard to watch.
if you go back to his high school days, it was like he supposed to be the next Joe Montana, bro. I was like,
Dude, he had the hype, man. He went to Notre Dame, but
the
he was one
hype,
of them quarterbacks like Brady Quinn, just not
and
that
that's.
guy.
But you know what? Like I said, off subject, off subject. Like I said, Cam Newton's number 5, but
Mm-hmm.
Brady Quinn, I think he got a bad rap because he
He
went
went
to
to
the Cleveland
Cleveland too,
Browns,
when they
and
were like at their worst.
I'm a firm believer that anybody that go to the Cleveland Browns back then, like your
Oh, they
career
were
was
screwed.
done. You was
Fat.
done. Anybody, defender, kicker,
It was a
punter,
final pit
whatever,
stop.
your career was over with. That was a dumpster fire of a franchise. No matter who went there, what you did, how good you was, they just couldn't get out their own way. But I
Mm-hmm.
digress. Like I said, I just think Brady Quinn got a bad rap. I think he was a
Yeah.
way better quarterback than that. And the Cleveland Browns just kind of just beat him up. You know what I'm saying? So, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, Cam Newton, number 5, Brady Quinn, underrated draft bust. We'll say that. Underrated draft bust.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, number 4, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Jake Delhomme. I'm gonna go Jake
He's
Delhomme.
like 6 for me. He's right there, just because he was
I'm gonna
there the
go.
longest.
I'm gonna go for this reason alone, because he really kind of was a journeyman guy. But when he got to the NFC South, he became a Pro Bowler. Like maybe 3 or 4. I want to say he had a good run with Carolina. I
You
don't.
know who originally drafted him?
Uh,
You know who originally drafted him?
the Saints.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
They
Saints
let
got
that
him.
one slip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But when he became a starter and came to
Mm-hmm.
the Carolina Panthers, like he really showed what he could do. And at the time, he was the top guy in that conference, other than Michael Vick at the time.
He
So
led them to the Super Bowl.
he did, and that's ultimately why I put him fourth, because that playoff run was not supposed to happen. It was not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to get past the wild card game. They wasn't supposed to get past St. Louis in the divisional round, and they sure as hell wasn't supposed to beat Philly in the championship game, because I thought Philly was going all the way. So they was
Mm-hmm.
definitely not supposed to do that. And then they go toe to toe with the GOAT Tom Brady, to the point where Tom Brady had to earn his paycheck that night, because that
Boy,
defense played.
Carolina ran the table, dude.
Bruh, Carolina almost ran the table against them. And it took the dude to kick the ball out of bounds on the kickoff for them to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally how they lost it. Because I felt like if they would have got a full field to stop Tom Brady, I think they would have. Because they had some studs. They had Dan Morgan. They had a Julius Peppers on there. They had
Mm-hmm.
a guy with a last name Mentor. He was good.
Yeah.
And they had another cornerback that was out there hitting people. I can't remember his name, but he was good. And that defense was hungry and nice. And you had 2 stud receivers on offense
Musa
with Musa
Muhammad and
Muhammad and Steve Smith, with 2 good
mm-hmm.
running backs that people don't talk about, Steven
Deshaun
Davis
Foster.
and Deshaun Foster. So that team really, really, really definitely kind of brought everything together when I talk about
Mm-hmm.
this. And Jake Delhomme is number 4, man. He was
I
clutch.
respect that pick.
He was clutch. He was nice. And, he did his thing, man. Like I said, number 3 for me is Michael Vick, man. Like, talk about, a guy that took the league by storm, took college by storm. first overall pick. They didn't know what to do with him, but they tried it and it worked. You know what I'm saying? So he was exciting. Obviously, he got into some trouble, which kind of stunted his career. But I think his time in, and we're gonna talk about the time in the NFC South. Like he was box office, man. You talk about a guy,
Oh yeah.
talk about your guys that are important to the game. Uh, he changed it, man. Like everybody needs a mobile quarterback, but there'll never be another Michael Vick. I don't care what nobody
No,
say. Not that
there's no way.
fast, not that quick,
That strong
but
arm.
big arm, and left-handed. Let's say that too. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't understand is left-handed dudes is tough to guard because you don't see them very often. So it
Mm-hmm.
won't be another Michael Vick, man. And he had those defenses scared every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Christmas games, whatever. He had them scared, and he had some good performances in the playoffs, man. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
going to Green Bay and beating them when they had Brett Favre in the snow, like making them look stupid on national television, bro. Like, and then
I was gonna say
taking
they
it,
made it to an NFC title game with him. If I'm
they
not, I
did,
think they made it one time.
they did. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, a lot of things, and he got the first 1,000 yard season as a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. So you know what I'm saying. Obviously, his passing was up and down, but he made
Mm-hmm.
so many splash plays that could change a game in an instant.
That
So
didn't matter as much. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So, he's number three, man. Number two for me is probably gonna mirror you. I think Tom Brady did enough in his time there to be coming to a new conference and a new division and really kind of just taking it by storm. I agree. He did his thing. And I can't go wrong with him being number two on my list because he did enough, man. I mean, being the first guy to lead his team to the Super Bowl that's hosting the team, like that
Mm-hmm.
never
First
happened.
time ever.
Yeah, like the first time ever to have a team that's in the Super Bowl beat a
At
home
home.
team in the hosting. Like that's out of this world. But for him to really kind of bet on himself and come there and dominate like that, I think it was really cool, man. Like it's really cool to kind of see because everybody you can't win without Bill Belichick. You can't do it. No, you
He
can't
had
do
to
it.
go out and prove himself.
And he proved himself, man. Like that was Tom Brady, man.
In
And
the first year. No, it wasn't the
first
first year.
year,
It was second. Was it?
first or second, whatever it
I think it
was.
was second. Yeah. Yeah, but still pretty much same
But
thing.
first, second, third, he came in there with a mission to dominate, and they fixed that team up. And to be honest with you, the team wasn't that different from Jameis Winston a year
Oh,
before.
they didn't do much else. It was almost identical to the same team from the year before.
Exactly. So my thing is, which is why I was really angry about Jameis Winston, is because you had 5,000 yards the year before, but you had 30 interceptions. So imagine if fumbles, whatever, turnovers or turnovers. If
But
you
imagine if he cuts that in half.
Yes, that's my point. If you cut that in half, I don't think they get Tom Brady because they know they
No.
got a younger guy at a discount, right? Even though they
Mm-hmm.
signed him to an extension or whatever, but they had a discount with a guy they can believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have to go get Tom Brady. But I tell you what, they don't regret getting Tom Brady. That's for
Oh
sure.
no,
Yeah,
they don't.
because he got the hardware and it worked. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, number one, like I said, we're gonna mirror each other at the top. But I say Drew Brees, man. I just think about his overall impact, man. Like I said, I lived down there in New Orleans all the way to '03. I think that's when I started living down there, visiting with my auntie and everything. And I saw what Katrina did to the city, man, and it destroyed it. But I tell you what, getting Drew Brees was a big part in rebuilding that city and
True.
makes him with some guys like Marquise Colston, some hella good receivers. I can't even name them all, but I know
So
Pierre Thomas was
we can talk
there.
about that.
You had Deuce McAllister, still there doing his thing. And then I mean you got Jonathan Vilma. I mean the defense was nasty, dog. Like I know Darren Sharper had some off the field issues, which we're not gonna
He
get
was a
into,
monster.
but he was a monster. Roman Harper was a monster. Like you had a monstrous team on defense. I don't care about no bounty gate, man. They was out there taking souls and they was hitting hard. And I liked it. I'm a defensive guy, bro. Like if we gonna pay somebody, we gonna have a pot in the locker room. Hell, let's do it because look, we not out here hurting nobody on purpose, but we out here playing football. People get hurt all
Yep.
the time. So, like, dude, I don't care too much about that. But if we talking about a guy that put it all together, that connected that city to the team and everything, it's Drew Brees, man. Like that gave that city some hope, and that he built that team up, and he had some stuff to prove because he came there and they said he couldn't play no more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like just think about that for a minute. Like the team that drafted you drafted another guy. You get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
which technically makes them go with the other guy by default. You wasn't done yet. You know what I'm saying? But you leave and they say you can't play no more. And then you come there and you just kind of turn into the greatest quarterback ever, almost. Like he's at least top two, top three, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because he did some things, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had a discussion with a friend of mine and I didn't put Drew Brees on my list. And I was upset that I missed out on Drew Brees. I forgot all about him. And I felt bad because I was like, man, that dude was excellent, man. He's an excellent quarterback, man. Little guy, but great big heart and a big time game too. So I think he's number one, man, in the NFC South for sure. I don't think it's debatable. It's not. I don't even think you can argue anybody else because he's got the numbers, he's got the performances, and he's got the ring. So,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of the other guys, even if they were as good and as electric, they don't have the ring to match that. So that's that's
Yeah, and look who they beat to win that ring.
right. You know what I'm saying? Look what he did to
He beat
beat
Peyton
Peyton
Manning.
Manning. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So then, it's like I said, he's just a great leader, man. Great guy, man. Like I said, I just think above the NFL, the play, he's number one for what he did for that city, man. That's number one for me, hands down. Like hands down. He's number one. So Drew Brees, number one. Good guy. Yeah, so that's my top
Can't
five,
argue with
man.
that.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think we had a good list, man. We had a good list. I bet I shocked you with Jake Delhomme though.
Man, I wanted to put Jake in there. I couldn't. I feel like I could have made a case for it, but I'm like, man, I just can't. I couldn't. His Super Bowl run was so great, but I couldn't put him above those other guys because if I could have put him above anybody, it would have been Vic because two other guys had MVP seasons and their MVP seasons were really good. But even if you're looking, I mean, what the guy was able to do, nobody else would have predicted all the Panthers are going to find their way in a Super Bowl against in the middle of a Patriots dynasty where
Oh,
Vinatieri had to kick them to win the game. I mean,
bruh, I'm telling you, dude. I watched, excuse me, I watched this Super Bowl live. They was gonna beat Tom Brady that day. They was gonna beat the Patriots that day if dude ain't kick the ball out of bounds. I'm telling you, I don't
they put
think.
them automatically with the 35, I think, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, all you gotta do is get like a couple of first downs, right? And you kicking a
And
field
you're
goal.
right
And
there.
it was the worst ending to a Super Bowl ever. And the game was so damn good that that's not the way you want to end it. You want either Tom Brady to score and get a touchdown
You
or
want to
let him
force
go
them
all
to.
the way down from the 20 and then kick a field goal. But to
Mm-hmm.
kick the ball out of bounds, man, like you can't have that. You gotta kick it straight or something. Hell, you could have squib kicked it for all I care. Don't kick the ball out of bounds,
Yeah.
man. Don't
I mean,
do
a squib kick really wouldn't have been a horrible idea, honestly,
it, bruh, man. If you
in
because
my opinion.
I'll blame dude in terms of like he can't kick because obviously he can kick because it got him to the world. It got him to the Super Bowl.
But I mean, not on that day, not on that play.
I
He
just
just
think
didn't.
I think it came down to nerves, dog. Like I don't
Yeah,
think people picked them to win, and now we in the game with a chance to
he had a
win.
Cody Parkey situation.
Right, and I just think he hooked that thing, man, for real. But I just don't think you can't do that. You just can't do that, man.
You can't
You
put
can't keep,
a team on the verge of doing a 2 or 3-peat and putting them in position to win like that. You just
yeah, man,
can't have it.
you can't do it, man. So yeah, man. Like I said, great list, man. So like I said, this is episode 7, man. I hope y'all really enjoyed it, man. This is our first NFL episode, and we just want to keep giving you guys great content. And we're gonna keep going with this breakdown of this pro game, man. NFL is awesome to talk about. Some great teams, great storylines. So anything you gotta say before we get out of here, bro?
Man, we're really excited to do NFL content. We didn't want to burn you guys out with college football. We love college football, but at the same time, the NFL is in a really popular spot right now. We really want to talk about all these different storylines, these different players. So, as for this video, just like, comment, subscribe. Just be patient. Give us feedback. We would love to start getting comments and we figure out where you guys are at and what you guys like. But we're going to continue in the NFC. We'll pick another division. We'll have another top 5 segment, and we will keep giving you guys this kind of stuff.
I couldn't say it better myself, bro. All right. I'm Cam. That's Brandon. This is a Football Frame of Mind podcast. We out.